Hey everyone, Rarity Dash here. Time for another blind commentary. And here's something that's been kind of hyped for quite a while. We're back to Antony C in my reviewer rotation, this time for his review of A Canterlot Wedding. I mean, in addition to the last video I saw from Antony having a lot of build-up for it woven right into the thing, people have really been wanting to see me react to this one for a while now. Not entirely sure why, but I guess we're going to find out. It's pretty clear from the last one of these that this isn't going to be a particularly positive review, and, well, A Canterlot Wedding is among my favorite episodes. Granted, I would acknowledge that it's far from perfect. As much as I like it, I can acknowledge that there is a lot to critique. It is far from beyond reproach. I mean, there's a reason that the Friendship is Witchcraft episode 4 works so well. Twilight's behavior, it really does come across as extremely possessive, and all her... It's kind of a thing that's hard to defend, and it really is only justified because she just happens to be right. Which ties into the other thing, the thing Ultra Fast Pony brilliantly pointed out. The episode really kind of seems to fly in the face of the episode immediately before it. Twilight really does have no concrete evidence, really, just this vague suspicion, and yet she jumps to the accusation despite spending all of the previous episode telling Pinky not to do this exact thing. Really, it does kind of read as a bit of a tantrum, and certainly not the best way to address the situation. And if Twilight wasn't right, suddenly the entire episode flips around and it's changed, and this is a big problem, as it kind of is what sets up the supposed lesson of the episode, which is that learning to trust your instincts is a thing to do, apparently. Which, yeah, it is kind of an iffy lesson, if you ask me. Instincts can and often are wrong. Hard proof is what you really need to trust, and that Twilight isn't able to find any to show to other people, it's just something that is in how the situation is set up. But other than that, I think it's really just a delightful episode for the most part. People get on it for the sudden introduction of shining armor, but I've never really had a single issue with that. The characters in the show, they're adults living their own lives. Stuff like that isn't necessarily going to come up. I have a brother I sometimes don't see for years at a time. Doesn't mean we weren't close growing up or anything. It's just a consequence of having our own stuff to deal with and living apart. I thought that the introduction of more family for Twilight was a good thing. And Shining Armor as a character, I think he's perfectly fine. I didn't mind his introduction at all. I don't really get that complaint. I mean, we didn't have many people complaining when Maud showed up suddenly. But yeah, and Cadence too, for that matter. I don't see why there's such a big deal there. It broke a ton of headcanons when a third Alicorn showed up, I guess. I never really saw much of a reason to care for that, though. Alicorn OCs are a bad thing, mostly because they're emblematic of vanity, but that's not really a problem with characters written into the show itself. It's just a pony with wings and a horn. I don't really see what is so game-breaking about there being more than two of them. Does it take something away from Luna and Celestia? Perhaps, but not much when you kind of get the sense from the beginning that the rules for Cadence are going to be a bit different. And then there's Chrysalis, who really is what makes the episode amazing to me, as opposed to just a flawed but serviceable season finale. I just really love her character. This day Aria is just insanely amazing, and then there's her awesome design and that voice and everything else, really. She is a delight, and really steals the episode for me. Still probably my favorite villain that the show has done, even if I would probably attest that Starlight Glimmer is a more effective one. I just like Chrysalis a whole lot more. And there's also other good stuff like the fight sequence, which is silly and small scale compared to what we'd eventually get in Season 4, but at the time it was a real treat to be getting something like that, to see the ponies actually kicking around enemies in some high energy fight sequence. And I even like that it really amounts to nothing. The end is great. I like how it subverts the previous two-parters, and that rather than the elements saving the day, it's the new characters whose love is what repels the threat. Power of love really isn't any less groan-worthy than power of friendship, and if Cadence is going to be an alicorn, she really might as well have some magic to her that could do things like this. I think that's a great way to end it. But yeah, anyway, just thought I'd get into it a bit so you know what I think as I go into this, where I'm coming from. This review is 2 videos, reviewing his Magic 4 and The Big Fix, and I'll be watching both. I believe it's a collab between Antony C and another guy. Hope it's good because it's gonna be like 40 minutes. Anyway, let's get started. Okay. Reviewing his Magic.
Previously on Reviewing His Magic.
Previously on section. Interesting.
In fact, I think Twilight's the only one who hasn't blasphemed her name yet. She's definitely the Saint Michael of the group.
You stay gay, pony girl.
God loves the gay one.
Just as long as they don't do anything to break it by somehow denying that Princess Celestia is...
Oh, thundering frig!
And now, the exciting conclusion.
That face.
Well, I guess God doesn't love the gay one. I mean, this doesn't look particularly omnipotent to me!
So, Celestia's not God.
Interesting. Makes me wonder what they set it up in the series for, though. But hey, it's not a total train wreck. It's still a good show, right? And I bet this episode's gonna be just fine. Right? Right?
Got a bit of animation there. That's cool. Brony Curious. My little A Canterlot Wedding critique. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue there.
This season finale is a total mess, save for now the fact that it completely banjaxes my delightful headcanon. You know, the one predicated on a sweet theological allegory like C.S. Lewis's Narnia and such? But oh, who needs allusions to that artsy bunk? This is just a show for little kids, right? Yeah, okay, a show for little kids that generates stuff like this.
Got mob. Oh, these other great things. BronyCon.
All that for a little kid show, huh? Boy, you guys are freaks.
Now, remember when I said,
So leave a message if you want to talk about another good episode that makes you go, Dude, My Little Pony rocks, brah! Or better still, an episode that makes you think, This show is for little girls. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you, Exhibit B!
And just in case, and on the off chance it hasn't already been made abundantly clear how I feel about it,
I don't like this episode! It is a bad episode, and you should feel bad when watching it! But no, I certainly did. Ricky Gervais levels of unpleasantness potent enough to eject me bodily from the Bronyhood for a day and a half?
oh, I'm not fooling. I mean, this is a deal breaker, right? It has to be. I mean, who could look at this two-parter and genuinely call it a peach cupcake?
But oh no, saith the Bronyhood, you bronies, you friggin' kid epicness! This made me cry tears of joy.
most beautiful episode ever.
Oh, sweet Celestia, Vital Scratch has magenta eyes! Boo! Boo!
Dude, calm down. Seriously.
Hello?
Who is that?
Just me, dude. Chill.
Brony Curious? What are you doing here?
Well, I am in the opening credits.
Shh! Leave the fourth wall alone.
Fourth wall.
What do you want?
I'm here to help. This Canterlot Wedding thing isn't nearly as bad as you think.
What?
No, really.
You
Yes?
think that A Canterlot Wedding
Uh-huh.
is salvageable?
No, dude, it's not just salvageable. It's ingenious.
Okay. So he's going to be the one
No,
defending
I'm serious.
Sure, you who thinks the Nightmare Moon saga was broken.
Yep.
You who thinks that the Discord two-parter was lacking.
Uh-huh.
You who thinks that all the episodes thus far focusing on big event-driven adventures instead of personal character studies are seriously flawed, thinks that A Canterlot Wedding is ingenious.
It's true.
Your Honor, I object.
Well, that's what I'm here for. Let's hash it out.
Oh yeah, right. You want to see me cry?
No, man, let's end this.
Oh yeah?
Yeah!
Well then let's do it right. I ain't got nothing better to do.
The hell? Don't do that! There's no coming back from that!
Then I guess we'll dance together forever. In pony hell!
Oh, okay. Well, that works.
Well,
Right.
ha! Top that, Paleo.
Interesting
ready?
effect of
Please,
that magic
take it
gun.
away.
Oh no. After you.
Oh, alright then. Things I don't like about the Canterlot Wedding episode of My Little Pony. Fim.
Fem.
Number 1.
Who the heck are Cadence and Shining Armor? So everything is super in Equestria, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and the main six are enjoying a nice picnic. Suddenly Spike enters the scene to jumpstart the plot, as it happens that our frilly protagonists have been invited to a royal wedding at Canterlot Castle. Strangely though, they've also been hired to employ each of their unique talents for the wedding. It's soon revealed that this is so because the wedding is between some pony named Princess Miyamori Cadenza and Twilight's ever-loving big brother and best friend forever, Shining Armor. Oh, you remember Shining Armor, don't you? Boy, I'd be hard-pressed to think of a single episode from the last 2 years Twilight spent in Ponyville where she didn't rave on about this amazing stallion.
Ugh.
How's that?
Oh, nothing. Continue.
Currently, 5 of our fine fillies and Spike are super stoked to participate in the noble nuptials. But on the fun train trip to Canterlot, Twilight seems a bit bummed out. She's not happy with the idea of her best friend marrying some pony she doesn't know on such short notice, and once at Canterlot, the first thing she does after getting Pinky's confetti sneeze out of her hair is march straight up to Shining Armor and tell him so. And it's here that we learn the most important fact of the entire series.
Number 1.5. Twilight's brother is a dude.
What?
Dude, I love this
Yeah.
guy. He's totally like the most relatable character in the whole show, man.
Ah.
Riley!
Oh, brother.
Shining Armor explains that he hasn't been in contact recently due to the fact that there's been an unspecified threat made against the city. And as he happens to be captain of the Royal Guard, Shining Armor's been busier than a bishop breakdancing. He invites Twilight to be his best mare at the wedding. Awesome. After showing her his great big purple party piece. That's a magical incantation that covers the whole city in a glowing force field. But, you know, it's purple. It's a purple shield. Twilight is happy with this exposition, but still demands the lowdown on her mysterious wannabe sister-in-law. And that's when the handsome groom-to-be reveals that this Princess Miyamori Cadenza person has been Princess Cadence the whole time. Oh, you remember Cadence, don't you? Boy, I'd be hard-pressed to think of a single episode
Again.
from the last 2 years Twilight spent in Ponyville where she didn't rave on about this amazing mare. How's that?
Nothing.
I heard an exasperated huff.
No, go on.
Hey, you're the one who says this episode's too hot to trot. So what's your beef?
Shining Armor and Princess Cadence are quite possibly the two biggest cop-outs the series has produced for the sake of convenience thus far.
Aha!
Conceptually, at least, both she and Shining Armor are total nonsense to the series. Shining Armor because the crux of his story is founded on the relationship that was never established, and Cadence because, well, what is Cadence? She's an alicorn. Why? Up to this point, the only 2 alicorns on the show were Celestia and Luna. The established mythology of the ruling sisters has been destroyed by the introduction of Cadence. Before now, one really never had to question why Celestia and Luna ruled over Equestria. They were the only alicorns and literally had power over night and day. light and darkness,
Yin and yang.
they occupied this weird space between royalty and divinity, and their uniqueness made them a natural fit for the overarching monarchs of Equestria. Now that there are other alicorns, though, these all become important questions. Who put Luna and Celestia in charge as opposed to two other alicorns? Hell, why not Cadence? She's a princess too, right? It's never really shown that Cadence has any extreme powers, though. It certainly isn't implied that she can control the sun and the moon. Not to mention that from the looks of her in the present versus Twilight's flashback, Cadence ages like a normal pony, whereas Celestia and Luna are both baseline
Rules are
1,000+
different.
years old, and in all probability immortal. Are all alicorns that powerful? Or are Celestia and Luna like super alicorns or something? You see, boys
Probably.
and girls, the reason this is so flimsy is because Cadence had literally no reason to be an alicorn. It does nothing to help her character, and instead just raises a ton of otherwise avoidable questions. She has nothing in common with the established alicorn characters, and would have been just as competent a character as a normal unicorn. Add to the fact that Lauren Faust herself stated that she never had any intention for there being other alicorn characters besides Celestia and Luna, and now we just have a big mess. As she is, Cadence's existence is a blotch on the canon of this universe, and that's to say nothing of the fact she is supposed to have this strong history with Twilight being her old foal-sitter.
Hey, what's wrong with that?
She's a foreign princess, right? Who gets themselves child-minded by visiting royalty?
Well, it is Twilight, Princess Celestia's best student.
Really? Take a look. No cutie mark. This is all pre-faithful student. So why is Cadence doing this?
That is a
Doesn't she
thing
have,
that
like,
doesn't really make
important
sense.
Princess things to do? Did her parents take away
I
her
would
allowance?
I
or
would give you
something?
that plot hole
Maybe
there.
she's just really civic-minded.
I don't know.
Twilight
This
should
doesn't
have
seem
her
like something
cutie
a
mark.
princess would do. It feels more like a way to get Twilight to all of a sudden be okay with Shining Armor getting married.
Or perhaps it's just a contrivance to sell new playsets to 9-year-olds.
That's very G3 of you, Hasbro.
Well, I'm glad we agree then. This episode sucks. The end. See you next time, every pony.
Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. These things aren't huge problems. They're just nitpicks over the setup. With little polish, they could have been made to work perfectly fine.
Do tell.
If Twilight didn't actually know who Cadence was, it would have made an even stronger point as to why she was so convinced that Cadence was actually evil, as well as why it was so hard for her friends to believe that she's actually onto something. As it currently stands, since Twilight had such a long-standing positive relationship with Cadence, she should be confused as to why Cadence is acting so mean, and want to talk to her and find out what the problem
Implied
is,
that
not
she hasn't
vilify
seen her in years.
If Cadence was a stranger, though, her actions and assessments would be playing right into Twilight's already established penchant for paranoia, and again, reinforcing her friend's reluctance to believe her. And as for Shining Armor, if he had a strained relationship with Twi, it would explain why she had never mentioned him before this point. Problem solved.
Boo.
Oh, shut up.
You know, none of this would be necessary
Have
if
to
they
have a
just set these
strained
people up earlier
relationship
in
to
the
not
season,
mention
right?
them.
I know.
Remember the Grand Galloping Gala?
The Triple G? Of course!
Yeah, that was actually foreshadowed from the third episode into season 1, so when we finally got there, it felt properly built up. But this time, crucial climactic plot elements like Big Brother's best friends forever and what have you barely get a song at last minute?
Yeah, a story feels better when it's begun with the end in mind. It shows that the writers are taking care to think about what should happen next, as opposed to just making it up as they go. Although, speaking of the gala, did you find it weird that Rarity stressed herself out into oblivion trying to make all those dresses for her friends in the span of one day, but then it takes us another 12 episodes to actually go to the gala? She could have maybe spread that out a bit more, don't you think?
Hey, you're already on thin ice, mister. Don't go and ruin season 1 for me as
Yeah,
well.
Love and tolerate?
Boo. Anyway, so Twilight
Episodes
eventually
don't go
confronts
in
the cause
order.
of all our problems. But something's amiss with Cadence as she doesn't seem to recognize Twilight at all. Disgruntled, Twilight heads off to... What now?
You skipped the thing, dude.
The thing?
Twilight first suspects Cadence when...
I am aware of a certain schoolyard rhyme featured in this episode.
When...
And that a few members of the fandom find its manic dance-related antics amusing.
Sunshine, sunshine.
But you might be tempted to try it
Sunshine,
if you're a
sunshine.
complete
Wait,
idiot.
the sun's awake.
Sunshine, sunshine.
Clap your
it's
hands
so
and do a little
stupid.
shake.
Ladybugs away.
It's amazing!
Sunshine, sunshine. Clap your hooves and do a little shake.
Yes,
Awesome.
that needed to
Everybody
happen.
sets about their tasks to prepare for the wedding. All the while, Twilight observes more and more that nowadays, Princess Cadence is nothing like the pony from her youth. Though she can't seem to find any reason for it, this pony princess seems pretentious, dismissive, and two-faced. Twilight tells the Five about it, but they count the odd behavior as wedding day jitters. Twilight considers this, but decides that she should at least consult her brother about it. But once it's Shining Armor's place, Twilight witnesses her royal poshness pull some shifty moves, and the next day at rehearsal, she just up and declares Cadence evil in front of everyone.
Okay, this
Yeah.
is silly. Why didn't she talk to Princess Celestia first? Or maybe Princess Luna? Where is Luna? She's never in the same place at the same time as anyone else.
Shush. We'll get there. At this, every pony is utterly aghast, and Shining Armor is furious. He explains that the stress of his responsibilities has been giving him terrible headaches that Cadence has been using her magic to try and heal, and that's what Twilight observed the previous night.
Is it just me, or does he make it sound as though it'd be better if they simply postponed the wedding until later? You know, at least until the dire situation that requires a city-sized shield has passed?
No. Every pony leaves in a huff, including Princess Celestia, and Twilight, crestfallen and shamefaced, tearfully apologizes to Cadence.
To which Cadence responds by brutally murdering her by magical melting. The end.
Yeah. That would be an ending.
Hey! Knock it off!
Well, that's what happens, as far as we know. This part ends with what looks like Twilight's horrible murder, followed by cheerful credits. Isn't it just magical?
Well, yeah.
It is a great ending.
Trapped in the caves beneath Canterlot Castle.
She lives!
Here, the villainous aristocrat starts taunting Twilight that she's thoroughly owned, which may seem unnecessary considering that we last saw Twilight apologize to her. That is, until she starts her evil gloating about Shining Armor. Twilight is so incensed by this that she begins to madly bust down cave walls, which eventually unveils the real Princess Cadence! Armed with nothing but lies, Twilight looks ready to kill her.
Mario
but
music.
Fortunately, the real Princess Cadence can prove her identity.
Sunshine, sunshine.
Shut your flippin' face! They manage to claw their way out of the caves thanks to Twilight's Nightcrawler powers, and make their way back to the Great Hall just in time to stop the wedding.
Whoa, slow down, man. You're forgetting something. Again.
What?
Only one of the best things about this arc.
Wait, oh no, you don't mean, oh.
This day's going to be perfect.
Oh.
Best part of the
What?
episode.
This day aria stunned me the first time I heard it. Like, I love the songs and Friendship is Magic, but this song took everything to a whole new level. This was some Golden Age Disney level atmosphere going on here. The choreography was awesome.
Choreography?
The singing was amazing, and while it was a little ham-fisted like Shining Armor's introduction, it gave us a glimpse at the real Cadence, and we learned that she really does love Twilight's brother and is worthy of our care as an audience.
Golden Age, what are you talking about?
Dude, come on. The feels.
Boo! Anyways, the two make it to the wedding just in the nick of time. Every pony is shocked by Twilight's interruption, except for fake Cadence, who seems to fail to realize that if Twilight escaped, then she'd probably bring the real Cadence with her, yeah?
Fake Cadence is kind of an idiot.
Well, you know, funny you should mention that.
Number 2. Fake Cadence is an idiot.
Who then dramatically reveals herself as the evil, unnamed ruler of the Changelings, while Princess Celestia goes out for coffee. The Queen, later revealed as Queen Chrysalis, then begins to monologue about how she's been siphoning away love from Shining Armor, who himself is now under her direct control, somehow, and her Changeling army is, right now, chipping away at his magical shield. Celestia returns from her coffee break in time to challenge Chrysalis directly, and promptly gets her omnipotent cheeks cosmically spanked.
I know, dude. They're there.
No, to give him some credit, Chrysalis actually seems surprised that she defeated the one and only
Yeah.
Celestia. And who wouldn't be? I mean, who'd have thunk that the love of one star-crossed stallion had the power to neutralize a deity? However, if she wasn't sure that it would work, then we must assume that open battle with Princess Celestia was Plan B.
Yeah?
Right. So if that's the case, then what was Plan A? I mean, what was she there to do?
Well, maybe she meant to pretend to be Cadence permanently, and Chrysalis just pulled the invasion out of her plot at the last minute once Twilight blew her cover.
So Plan A was to pretend to be Cadence forever. Well, that'd make sense if her army wasn't already attacking the shield as we speak. This invasion looks clearly premeditated, and especially given how mean Chrysalis has been to every pony up until now. She doesn't seem to really care about keeping a low profile. As Twilight observed, being an ass to every pony, even to the point of forcing poor Rarity to make frivolous changes to a dress she could care less about, doesn't really scream covert ops. And yet, open battle contradicts everything we're told about how the Changelings roll. They're covert folk, right? Who'll secretly eat your good vibrations?
Well, then maybe it isn't just love that gives Changeling strength, but just strong emotion in general.
Oh, bollocks. We were told that these creatures feed on love, and to do that they'd have to sneak in and pretend. If they can consume any emotion, why don't they just bop in and start terrorizing every pony instantly? Emotional buffet.
Well, it must be because Shining Armor had that massive energy shield around Canterlot. Chrysalis needed to get him out of the way so her army could sneak in or invade.
Well, he seems to be in her power now. Why doesn't she just order him to lower the shield? Was this a mistake? And see, the shield itself is a problem because it's not explained why it's up in the first place. Oh, there was a threat made against the city, but by whom? We must assume that it was by Chrysalis, but Chrysalis is already inside the shield. She would have had to have threatened the city whilst inside the city, and all by herself. Was that a mistake? And why would she be alone? She has an army that can look like anyone. So we're to understand that all on her own, Chrysalis sneaked into Canterlot to take down a shield that would never have been a problem if she hadn't sneaked into Canterlot.
It is
Unless,
kind of
course, the shield
confusing.
was already up before she got there. In which case, why doesn't her army just sneak in the way she did?
Perhaps Chrysalis just sucks at planning.
Well, I wonder what else sucks around here.
Number 3.
Where the is Luna? 1 minute the illustrious Princess of Darkness is there to safeguard the nighttime, and then like that, she's gone. What the fudge? Did they really think we wouldn't notice?
Dude, drop it.
What?
No, seriously. Princess Luna has her part to play. Just ignore it for now.
Ignore it?
Uh-huh. Trust me.
Fine. The changelings break through and run amok. Queen Chrysalis just stands there and lets her enemies get away as the main 6 run for the elements, with not a second to notice that Shining Armor's finest have all gone on holiday. Not to be out-embarrassed by this level of legendary incompetence, the fillies face their own battle beyond the might of any party cannon and find themselves dragged back to the Great Hall, rendering the entire scene narratively pointless.
Hey, come on, man! The party cannon ruled!
It did.
Party cannon ruled.
Party cannon ruled!
Party cannon ruled.
And don't forget the Twilight Laser Gatling Gun! Come on, dude. In what other context could you ever say you saw a pink pony use a unicorn as a magical-powered stationary weapon of lavender lasery death?
Touché. Anyways, the ponies are captured once
Yes.
again, while the queen instructs her army to go and feed. On what they should feed, it isn't made clear, but since they start subjugating the citizens of Canterlot by force, we must assume that they've since developed a taste for hatred. Twilight attempts to free Cadence, and this time, just to shake things up, Chrysalis now employs the ancient and mystical changeling strategy known as just stand there and let your enemy get away, with releasing the captive white mage, who then proceeds to heal the guy who can cast the protection shield against her, though he would fail to do so but for the power of Cadence's love. And it's here we get this bunk.
My power is useless now. I don't have the strength to repel them.
My love will give you strength.
What a lovely but absolutely ridiculous sentiment.
Ridiculous sentiment!
Oh boy.
So your entire race of Whoosits gains strength from the pilfered love of others, a method of attaining power you just utilized to vanquish Celestia, but when someone else tries the exact same thing right in front of you, it's a ridiculous sentiment? Okay, which leprous bonobo monkey's responsible for this noise? Quick, someone dispatch the EPA to Hasbro. Halliburton's obviously been shale fracking nearby and the gas has gotten to Studio B. Hello? Is anyone still conscious? Ah!
There was actually a double meaning in the song. The song is in the key of D-flat major, just like when a wrap-up. That means that the root chord is a D-flat major chord. Usually an A-flat major chord will lead into a D-flat major. This is the 5-1 chord progression, and is also known as the authentic cadence. Now it seems to resolve to a sadder chord at the end of the phrase. Instead of ending on the D-flat major around 1 minute 16, it lands on the B-flat minor, the relative minor of the D-flat major. Now when a chord progression seems to be heading to the root chord, but lands on the relative minor instead, that is called a deceptive cadence.
Whoa.
That's ingenious.
Maybe they should give the story to the sound guy.
Yeah. Awesome.
Don't look now, some ponies being...
Did a lot of that in the season 3 finale.
That was kind of cool.
But you know,
Daniel
it doesn't
wrote
rescue
most
the
of that.
resolution to this story, which only wraps up because Chrysalis is a demonstrable idiot.
Maybe.
Maybe? Give me a break. Everything she does is nonsense. And what is with this weird message the show ends with?
Weird message?
Just watch. Cadence uses her magical love beams to fix Shining Armor, who then makes the spell that hits the reset button. They don't bother capturing Chrysalis as Team Rocket blasts off again. Boy, good thing she was standing near a window. Whoosits and What's-Her-Face tie the knot before Dashi pulls off a sonic rain boom, against gravity no less, and we all live stupidly ever after, blissfully ensconced in a thick cloud of cognitive dissonance to the fact that we didn't actually learn anything. And as for the bad guy and her purpose? Well, my guess is you'll never hear from her again.
Dude, what are you talking about?
What? What do you mean?
You think you don't get it, but how could you not? Isn't it obvious?
Beg your pardon?
It's all an allegory for love. The love that conquers all. Cadence's love healed Shining Armor and gave him the strength to dispel the bad guy who tricked him. See, folks like Chrysalis who don't really understand love and treat it as something we use like a tool to cheat people will always be found out in the end. It's the love of friends and family that give us the strength to defeat them. That's the moral.
Oh, what moral? That love is good.
Isn't that great?
Well, of course it's great, but we already know that love is good. But see, here's the thing.
Already know that friendship is good,
great
too.
Streaming jets of it out of my forehead. And therefore I'm completely at a loss as to see how it was supposed to have saved the day. If there's an allegory here, I'm struggling to see it. Is there a meaning behind this strange metaphysical representation of love? I'll show you what I mean. See, we're told at the start of part 2 that love is a tangible thing, similar to electricity, which can be physically stolen and actually used against people like a weapon.
Right.
This doesn't make any literal sense in the real world, but it does make metaphorical sense if, like you say, Chrysalis is an allegory for shady people who curry the affections of decent folk for selfish reasons, etc. And that's a good thing. I want to see that on TV. I mean, how do you deal with people like that? Well, according to this delightful episode, the all-encompassing power of true love will somehow save you from them, blah, blah, blah. But if that's so, then firstly, when Chrysalis squared off against the princess with the power of Lerb, then what was Celestia running on? Duracells? What was Her Highness even trying to do here? For what is this scene a metaphor? That love can defeat God? But God is love, right? All this scene proves is that Celestia isn't God. Thanks. Thanks for that. And my final word on that matter, imagine for a moment if in C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, we get to the part where Aslan sacrifices himself to the White Witch, and that's it. She wins. The end. Remove all theological illusion from this story, and that's what you'd get. Come to think of it, the whole adventure probably wouldn't exist. That, and The Lord of the Rings, and a whole bunch of other great fiction. Can you maybe now see how this might rub some people the wrong way? And lastly, what is this scene supposed to be?
Hey, whoa, what do you mean? That one's a no-brainer.
Do tell.
It's the part where Cadence's mercy and tenderness gives her beloved the power to defeat the villain who tricked him. It shows us that love is powerful because the people you love are there to help you when you can't or won't help yourself. That's an excellent concept.
Well, bully, but if Cadence's mystical beams of glowy love radiation were able to save the day, it's only because A, Chrysalis just stands there and lets her for some baffling reason, and B, Cadence was released from prison. And how did that come to pass?
Because Twilight busted her out.
Exactly, after being put there herself for hectoring the fake Cadence so much. Love didn't save the day, Twilight's mistrust did. There's your moral. Kids, if you suspect someone you love has fallen prey to an emotional leech,
that kind of is the moral, actually.
Oh, come on!
No, for serious.
That's
even
actually...
Princess Celestia says so.
This is your victory as much as theirs.
Yeah.
You persisted in the face of doubt.
That ties into my big
led to your being able to bring the real
problem with it all.
Back to us. Learning to trust your instincts is a valuable lesson to learn.
Now where have I heard that before?
I feel like such a fool. Well, he fooled almost everyone. But there was one little boy who never lost his mistrust.
Thanks, Mom.
Aw, isn't it just magical?
Okay, so maybe it's not about love. But isn't this kind of a good moral, too?
Well, you got me there.
Good. Now every pony shut up and dance.
Hello, every pony. Did I miss anything?
What? Did you miss anything? How about everything? Where have you been, you recalcitrant peanut?
Oh, Luna.
Out, you pompous, pimply butthole! Thank you. That's it. It's over. The series is broken and I'm going home.
It's ingenious.
I'm gonna stand here for like 20 seconds to give you a chance to carefully explain to me how is it ingenious?
Are you familiar with the Silmarillion?
Well, I'd better be by now, but yes, I am. What about it?
Tolkien's unfinished history of Middle-earth and the universe of Ea featured a classic example of the battles between good and evil. After creating the world, the Holy Father Eru sent his angels, the Valar, to rule over it, including Melkor, the one to fall. Melkor was an evil, jealous tyrant who wrought nothing but chaos, and who would be defeated by the Valar many times and eventually captured.
Okay, but what's this got to do with...
Eventually he was released and found his way back to polite company after eons spent imprisoned. Feigning repentance, he once again lived among the Valar of Arman, where he hatched an evil plan to steal the light of the world and violently betray his brethren.
Oh, I get it. Chrysalis steals love, the light of the world. The secret fire against which dark fire will not avail you, flame of Udun. Right, okay, but...
But, in the Silmarillion, he did not bamboozle God, but the Valar, his angels who created the power of Ea and set the sun in the sky in an age of legend before the dawn of man, much like the kingdom of heaven before the creation of earth.
Where these angelic beauties live and learn.
Now, who would have the power to commit such heinous treachery?
Did you not recall the legend?
But a trusted loved one of their own ilk, outwardly sweet, but inside the maker of all darkness.
Did you not see the signs?
To be later expelled from paradise, not by God or Eru, but by a lesser Valar, a lesser angel.
She's definitely the Saint Michael of the group.
Ah, right. Wait, we're still talking about Chrysalis, right?
So, if Equestria contains such a character, then it is someone who is most dear to its lord, as Lucifer was to God before the war. Family? And would need to know that if forced to face the elements of harmony, that they would have no effect?
If the elements of harmony could cure Princess Luna of her evil instantly...
I know who you are.
Why did she need to be locked in the moon for 1,000 years?
Some pony with the extensive knowledge of the castle and the caves beneath it?
You're the mayor in the moon.
Could cure Princess Luna of her evil. Wait.
Okay.
And who could that be?
Nightmare Moon.
Perhaps a shapeshifter?
Who then dramatically reveals herself as the evil, unnamed ruler of the changelings.
She's a changeling.
Later revealed as Queen Chrysalis.
I know who you are.
Later revealed as
Princess Luna.
Does my crown no longer
She
count?
lives in the same place at the same time as anyone
It
else.
has been 1,000 years since I was
That says you'll never hear from her again.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to convince the world she didn't exist.
And then like that, she's gone.
Well, okay then.
Yep.
Well, that's just one interpretation.
But it's glorious.
Yeah, more likely the show got pushed back to the end of the run and they just kind of had to belt this one out in a hurry.
The epic struggle between heaven and hell.
And deadlines.
Of course the elements of harmony aren't going to change Luna's mind. They didn't change her mind the last time. And what, she spends 1,000 years in angry exile, planning her revenge only to be cheated out of at the last minute? Nah. She's in recon mode, biding her time, playing possum, and now she knows she can take on the elements of harmony, the dunder-headed Canterlot guard, Shining Armor's shield magic, and her sister, and she did it all without revealing herself to anyone.
Or it was just horrible writing.
Studio B, you crafty devils, you had me going there for a minute, but now it's all clear. You're planning the grand battle of heaven, where good first triumphs over evil.
Right.
Where Saint Michael defeats Satan and claims her crown as a true princess of heaven.
Uh-huh.
It's the only way it makes any sense.
It's the only way it makes any sense. And it's probably not true.
It is ingenious!
There's no pony god.
Yeah!
Well then, that was interesting. Antony Cannon. That's his name, I guess. That's what the C stands for. Pretty cool name. And now the second video.
Hey there, everypony. So, a lot of you have been wondering about my Canterlot Wedding review with Antony C. Could what you said at the very end be really real? And all that. Well, anything's possible, but Nah, it was just a fairly average episode all the way through. Luna's absence was simply a final buckle in the body bag, so to speak. But that got me thinking. This episode isn't all bad. It had so much potential. I wonder if there's any way it could have been better. And then I found something. Something that just might blow your mind. Oh, speaking of which, say hello, Antony.
Big fix.
Oh, come on, man.
Dude. It's dead, dude. We killed it. It's over. We're like... It took 8 months. We murdered this episode to death. What more could you possibly have to say?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Come here for a sec.
You what?
Just come here for a minute.
Oh no. No.
Just a few minutes, I swear.
No, thank you very much. Been there, done that.
Just an hour, tops.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye. I'm leaving. I'm out the door.
All right. Have it my way.
See you later now. Bye-bye. Oh, come on, dude.
He can just do that, I guess.
You titanic ass.
I got something you have to see.
I couldn't see it from my continent.
Nope.
Oh, hey guys, what's going on?
And we got another guy in there too.
Oh, hey, Digi, welcome aboard.
I feel different.
Digi? Well, if it isn't Her Highness himself.
Hi there. Have you guys seen this video?
Yes! Which video?
This day is going to be magic.
Oh, for the love of Steve.
The kind of day of which I dreamed since I was small.
Yeehaw! How awesome is that?
I know, dude!
Sanity now, hoochie mama!
No, dude, you're going to love it. Seriously, every pony, shut up and watch this.
This day is going to be perfect.
Shining armor.
Kind of day of which I dreamed since I was small.
Interesting.
All those armor-loving boars say I look great in uniform. What they don't know is that I have fooled them all. This day was going to be perfect. The kind of day of which I dreamed since I was small. But instead of having cake with all my friends to celebrate, my wedding bells may never ring for me at all. I care not a thing about the ring, I won't partake in any cake. Vows, well, I'll be lying when I say that through any kind of weather, I want us to be together. The truth is, I don't care for her at all. No, I do not love the bride, for my heart is dead inside.
Wow. It's a pretty good version, actually.
We must escape before it's too late. Find a way to save the day. Hope I'll be lying if I say I don't fear that I may lose her to one who wants to use her, not care for love and cherish her each day. For I also love the bride, oh, in my heart.
Wonder if we'll ever get a Shining Armor song.
Oh, Princess Cadence, I'll soon be by your side.
That would be interesting.
Has arrived for me to take a very lucky bride. Oh, the wedding we won't make, she'll end up marrying a fake. Princess Cadence will be mine, oh mine.
That's pretty cool.
That was incredible.
I told you.
What was that?
That was This Day Aria Cult version by Victor Frost.
Nicely sung, sir.
But it gets better. Imagine the implications of this rendition.
What do you mean?
Imagine that a fake shining armor had been the antagonist the whole time.
Okay.
No, I don't get it.
I think he means that the biggest problems you guys had with A Canterlot Wedding all revolve around Chrysalis and her plan. Not much of it makes any sense for reasons you both already pointed out, but now picture every single problem that you had through the lens of this song. Firstly, Cadence makes a much more logical target for the changelings than Shining Armor. In the current canon, Chrysalis targets Shining Armor seemingly to shut down a trap that she tripped, and casts aside Cadence for no real reason. However, usurping, then discarding Shining Armor makes more sense, because he wouldn't be nearly as important as an alicorn princess under your power. Plus, Cadence is the princess of love, the source of a changeling's strength. Having Cadence under the changeling's control gives the Hive access to a huge supply of nourishment that they can generate at will.
Yeah, it probably would make a bit more sense.
Unlimited power? To say nothing of the fact that Shining Armor is the one with the power to put Canterlot on lockdown, which in turn would explain why the wedding wasn't postponed. And an evil Shining Armor wouldn't want the wedding to be put off because the plan would now be for the wedding to go forward and rescue Cadence as a prize. Targeting Cadence gives a Rule 63 Chrysalis a reason to be in Canterlot.
Whoa, Pony MacGuffin. But hey, that doesn't explain why the shield was erected in the first place. The changeling ruler would still have to have been in the city when it happened.
That could really have only ever been a mistake, but so long as he wasn't alone when it happened, it would be fine. Might even make more sense. Some changeling smunderling goofs up and trips the alarm.
And I like it because it would furnish us with deeper information on Shining Armor as a character, not making the BBBFF song feel like a cop-out. Twilight wouldn't awkwardly declare a Shining Armor evil, but instead continue to struggle emotionally as her brother seems to replace her, and have the audience further empathize with her plight. Plus, with no reason to establish an emotional connection with Cadence, she could be a stranger, developing Twice's feelings of isolation even more effectively.
Did this guy just fix the entire episode with one music video?
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. Okay. So, that was pretty entertaining. Some interesting points in there for sure. To start with, as much as I love Chrysalis as a character, I would never have really ever called her particularly smart in her planning. She has a problem with hubris, which is really what undoes her. She sings her glorious, gloating reprise while Twilight frees Cadence, but even beyond that, just imprisoning Twilight in the first place is a big mistake, because at that moment, she really has won. Twilight is defeated emotionally, no one else believes her, and, yeah, Twilight's just thinking she has been wrong the whole time, probably. And you could just really leave her alone at that point. You don't put her in the same prison as Cadence, and you definitely don't actively taunt her, as that just leads to her finding Cadence and eventually escaping with her. As for the other holes in the plot, that takes a bit more to unravel. The vague threat made against Canterlot in particular is a bit of faulty writing for sure, but it can be explained, I think, if we look ahead to Season 4 at least. I mean, Celestia has her precognitive dreams there, which she uses to find out about Tirek. Perhaps she used the same ability to become vaguely aware of Chrysalis acting in the shadows, though she didn't exactly know how or see much of the plan. Sure, that isn't a conclusion that could have been made at the time, but it's at least something that sort of makes sense that we can conclude now. Also, there are still holes in it that can be poked even if we do accept something like that, but I think that's true of most things. With enough prodding, most plots can start to unravel a bit. That's part of why I always feel kind of weird about analysis videos, even now that I'm a bit more used to them. If you put yourself in the mindset of looking for problems from the start, well, of course you're going to find them. I think Horseshoe Man said something to that effect in one of his videos. Ultimately, it's entertainment. I think the overall effect is a little more important than the fine details lining up perfectly. I would definitely admit that there are problems with episodes, as I said before. Probably more, and I probably do see even more of them now than before, but the episode is still just a joyful thing to me. Watching it makes me happy, and I think that more than anything is the point of it all. But yeah, as said, that doesn't make me enjoy this video any less. Antony C is just thoroughly entertaining almost always, and I thought his collaborator, well, he did pretty okay too, I think. It was a good video. The crack theory about Luna was pretty fascinating and amusing as well. Interesting how they drew that whole thing up. And yeah, the second video, I kind of agree. That would have made the episode a bit cleaner in terms of writing if the roles were reversed. And they could have had the same overall effect and introduced Cadance and Shining Armor pretty much the same way. And yeah. Anyway, hope you liked the commentary. Let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.